High school graduates take a photo in an album and fill out a form called "I will never forget." Athletes will remember victories and trophies. Excellent students will never forget their academic achievements, and revelers will keep in their hearts parties full of alcohol and fun. Matthew Kidman has difficulty with these kinds of memories. All this time he studied diligently to enter a good college, so he cannot quickly reproduce in his head at least something unforgettable. Matthew leaves the form empty for now. Matthew has two friends, also excellent students, who spend all their free time watching adult movies, and the rest 1% of time dreaming of sleeping with a girl. In addition to studying, Matthew is involved in organizational activities. This year, as president of the school council, he raised $25,000 to bring a young genius from Cambodia to study with them in USA. After a meeting dedicated to this event, high school students go to the beach instead of classes. Matthew invites his friends to go too, but they are scared to skip classes and refuse under various pretexts. Matthew decides to go alone, catching up with everyone else, but in an attempt to overcome his complexes and teenage phobias, already sitting in his car, he gives up and goes home. Having noticed an unfamiliar car loaded with things and boxes near the neighbor's house, the guy carefully considers who it could be. In the evening, while taking out the trash, Matthew sees the charming owner of an unfamiliar car, who is already finishing unloading her things in the dark. Having met their eyes, Matthew loses his sense of reality from her dazzling beauty, causing him to practically fall into a trash can. The charming stranger just smiles slightly and comes into her room. Telling a friend on the phone about a mysterious stranger, Matthew discovers that the windows of his room overlook the neighbor's bedroom, and she is just changing clothes at this moment. Suddenly the girl turns around. Matthew gets scared and falls to the floor. She noticed him peeping. The lights turn off and the sound of her front door is heard. Matthew sees through the window how the girl, already dressed, confidently walks towards his house. A minute later, the parents call Matthew to come downstairs. Terrified that he will be reprimanded for being a petty pervert, Matthew instead hears from his mother just an information that this girl's name is Danielle. She is her neighbor's niece. She would be glad if someone showed her the city. Moving around the city, Matthew and Danielle are silent for a long time. Matthew doesn't know what to say, and she clearly enjoys his confusion. In the end, Danielle says that in fairness, he should also take off his clothes in front of her. Having taken his things, first she laughs that Matthew wears white baby underpants, and then she forces him to run naked around the area for a bit. 2 minutes later she, having got mercy, returns for Matthew. Danielle is no longer offended and they go to the local cafe. Danielle shares that she just recently quit her job and wants to start over. Matthew also finds out that she doesn't have a boyfriend. In turn, Danielle asks how much fun the high school student has at his school. Matthew quickly tries to come up with some bright events, but he fails to lie. He admits that he didn't do anything worth mentioning at school. In the morning, Matthew shares past events with his friends. They ask did Matt make love to her. The well-mannered guy just shrugs it off, although he mentally regrets that he didn't kiss Danielle. Suddenly, in the middle of the lesson, he sees Danielle, who calls the excellent student to run away from the lesson. They ride, laugh and get to know each other better. In the evening, a charming blonde invites Matthew to swim in someone's pool. He doesn't resist for long, but the less clothes Danielle has, the more convincing she is, so he gives up and goes into the water. This day Matt prudently wears good boxers. Suddenly, the owner of the house, the school principal where Matthew studies, returns and disrupts the about-to-be first kiss. The couple grabs their clothes and quickly runs away. To the question, what crazy things have you been doing lately, Matt now has an answer, having almost caught Matthew's friends watching adult films. The couple invites them to go to a local party. Arriving at the party with such a beauty, Matthew catches appraising glances from the local popular guys. They bring Danielle a drink and then ask Matthew to leave the party because he is not welcome here. Matthew, after hesitating a little, finally overcomes his fears, moves the local popular guy aside and kisses Danielle. For the first time in his life, he took the initiative into his own hands and committed a bold act. In the morning, with a smile on his face, he walks through the school and meets one of his friends. Suddenly, he shows Matthew a tape of Danielle starring in an adult movie. Matthew is confused and decides that he doesn't talk to Danielle anymore. but his friend instead invites Matthew to sleep with Danielle, since she is experienced and does not really limit herself in the number of partners. Matthew takes Danielle to a motel, along the way taking advantage of the bad advices of his excited friend. For example, to behave like an alpha guy, to pointedly ignore the girl, and then get her very drunk. Danielle is not stupid, that's why she reveals the obvious plan and gets very upset with Matt. She says that she didn't want him to know about her past work because Danielle liked the way Matthew looked at her innocently and lovingly. Matt Kidman is sad, days without her in pastel colors. Studying, video games and time with friends no longer please him as much as before. And the guy decides to go to his girl next door to apologize. The heartfelt speech is interrupted by a tall adult brutal man who appears from the next room. The man says his name is Kelly. He is a producer in the adult film genre. Danielle comes outside and Kelly invites the guy to go for a walk with them. Matthew agrees and doesn't back down even when he sees that they are coming to a strip club. To show the girl how mature and brave he is, the guy orders himself a drink and asks Kelly for a cigar. The next day, Matthew shares his impressions of the evening with his friends. The guys are sitting in health class watching a video about the importance of using condoms to avoid getting pregnant after graduation. Friends say that the video is too old, so difficult to watch it. Matthew goes home and sees Danielle and the producer packing up their things. Kelly says they need to go to a festival in Vegas, shake their ass and be in public. The guy reminds the girl that she wanted to quit porn and start over, but she answers upset that no one can run away from an own destiny. Matt decides to fight for the girl anyway and goes with his friends to Vegas. At the festival, Matthew finds Danielle, but he doesn't have time to fully say what he wanted. As Kelly intercepts him, the producer says that the student is ruining the business and invites him to leave Danielle alone. Matthew doesn't give up and makes another attempt, only this time he gives Danielle her drawing as a reminder of the first day they met. He also says that he knows Danielle and she is much better than all this around. Then Matthew picks up his friends and returns home. Danielle comes to him in the morning. The speech worked and the girl quit her old job again. She gives Matt a ride to school, thanks him for believing in her and kisses him. An excellent student goes to class and his thoughts are only occupied by this evening, where his speech will depend on whether he will receive a scholarship. Reflections are interrupted by Kelly, who pulls the guy out of the classroom and puts him in a car. The producer is angry with the boy for disrupting his plans for a promising actress who has left the profession again. Under the guise of a sedative, Kelly treats the guy with ecstasy and sets a condition. Either Matt will compensate for the losses or steal a prestigious award in the adult film genre from his competitor. Matthew breaks into a competitor's house to steal the reward, but the golden phallus was just an excuse. Kelly in the same minute calls the police to report the theft and then leaves the guy alone. Matthew barely escaped from the parrot and hid from the cops to call his friends to get him. Matthew Kidman is already half an hour late for his event. At the fateful dinner, Matt doesn't quote Kennedy like his competitors. He gives a heartfelt speech about love, to find what is really important, and then the game is worth the candle. He does not win a scholarship with this sincere speech, but his girlfriend Danielle is completely delighted with such words. Later he goes to the bank to withdraw $25,000, which were collected for the study in the USA of a genius from Cambodia. There it turns out that Kelly, under the guise of Matthew's mentor, fraudulently withdrew the entire amount, and the cashier, who did not check the imposter's documents, for some reason makes the boy to blame for this. Matt comes to Danielle in desperation, but they quickly come up with an idea on how to get $25,000 on time. The couple comes to the rope porn producer, returns the stolen reward, and Matt promises a film with high school students for 50% of the profits. For this purpose, Danielle calls two of her charming friends and former colleagues. Matt's friends directly tell their parents that Danielle's friends, who are going to prom with them, are not from their school but are adult movie stars. The parents take it as a joke and laugh. Friends set up a studio right at school during graduation and offer top high school guys to act in films. The video is shot, the prom goes well, and Matt returns home in the morning. Kelly is already waiting for him there with the tape of their film from the prom. Only God knows how he managed to get it so quickly. Kelly wants a full share of the guy's earnings from this movie, or he will show the film to Matthew's parents. The guy decides not to agree to Kelly's terms and invites him to do what he wants. What is appearing on film is not porn, but a well-shot educational video, kissing, love games, and how to properly put a condom on a living person. The film sells well and Matthew gets his share, which is enough to pay for the Cambodian genius's relocation, and even for a brand new BMW. Matthew also sends a box of cigars to Kelly with an offer to stop their war. Just a few days ago, Matthew Kidman could not remember more than 0 crazy things he has done in his life for a school album. But now he will have to write on both sides of the sheet. Danielle took the main place both in these adventures and in the guy's heart.